Hello. Welcome to episode 3. Today's topic, a couple of interview tips. So, the first 2 episodes were basically an introduction and an upfront, here's me, and I apologize for being me and speaking before I think, but letting you all know that at the end of the day, never anything that I say is to be taken as malicious or mean or cruel. I live by kindness is free. So I decided I didn't want to do another info YouTube video or short. I guess the other one wasn't really short. I told you this was going to be painful because there'll be very little editing and me talking. But anyway, so I decided that we would do a little bit of content, and part of everything that's going to end up unfolding over the next couple of weeks as I explain and get going on what my mission is and why I created this and, where I'm headed and where I want you guys to come along with me. And a lot of that is a lot of just information and knowledge that I have stored in my head and in my journals and on lots and lots of sticky notes and all kinds of things like that. So let's just do a quick, short interview tip, a couple of tips, I guess, because I find myself having a conversation a lot with people about how important interviewing is. And as somebody who has a very strong personality, interviews are one of those things that I had to kind of figure out, because when you tell people you want to be the president of the United States, they kind of look at you like you are a lot. And maybe somebody who is a little bit less a lot that we might want. Also, because I have done a lot, but not a lot all at the same time. There were many jobs that I wasn't qualified for, but because I do interview well, I beat out a lot of people for them, different things like that. So, I grew up, for brevity purposes, foster care. It's a much more convoluted thing that I grew up in, but for tax purposes and everything else that kind of went with it, it was basically foster care. And one of my foster families owned a restaurant. And so at 9, I was helping out with that. And so one of an important kind of thing to always keep in the back of your mind when you're doing interviews is slip in 2 jokes. Anything more is they look at you like you're a joke. Anything less, they look at you like you're rigid. Somebody taught me that years and years and years ago. I cannot remember who it is. I've had many amazing mentors in my life, and I didn't always write everything down. So I'm not sure who told me that, but it is very accurate. So I always tell basically the same joke as one of them. And when they ask me about, life experience or how long I've worked for, I will always say, well, I grew up in the restaurant industry and started, cleaning tables and doing things at 9. It wasn't child labor because it was a family business, and they always chuckle at it, and it's always kind of just a really easy one. And feel free to steal that if you've worked at a young age or just in general. Feel free to steal anything of mine. It's not stealing, I'm giving you it, but I just want everybody to succeed. And if you find something I say is something that you like, take it. And then the next joke, I usually do it like towards like at my expense, kind of. They usually will ask what's the worst thing about yourself? And everybody always kind of says, make it a good thing, but like you work too hard, or you don't know how to not do things so perfectly. And, those are all great. And I'm not saying don't say that, because I have definitely used them. But I have learned that one of the two jokes I do a lot is usually to that question. And it kind of depends on what it is, but it's always kind of at my expense. Like, the worst thing about myself, there isn't. And, and it just kind of like breaks that ice as you're about to kind of like, answer that really weird question that always seems to pop up. So, two jokes, but not many more, or, they'll look at you like you're a joke, and a little bit anything less, which would be one or none, and that would be really hard, but don't do that either. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is, I don't care if it is for fast food restaurant or the president of the United States that you are trying to be their campaign manager. Always dress your best. Just do it. It makes very little difference, but it also could make the world of difference. And you only need one outfit to go interviewing. And just always look your best. I worked for Senator Parker, who was senator in Brooklyn, New York for a long time. And he used to always say, always dress your best. The only time you should ever not dress your best is if you're going to the gym. And even then, you can technically change there. And he's very accurate. I mean, I was going to law school, and the amount of like judges and people that came in, I was always dressed nice, and just always dress your best. Like you're dressing to impress. I mean, honestly, it feels good. You get more done. There's just, a lot to it. And, if you can afford it, I always say a nice suit. One nice suit, and you'll be good. For women, a nice business suit is also really great. And yeah, I think those are just kind of two of the really important. Oh, and always know what their mission statement is. Go on, do a little research and figure out what their like mission is, and then figure out how you can incorporate that. And the last thing is, I know that interviews are nerve-wracking, and I'm not great at public speaking. I'm definitely not always great when I meet people, but realize and remember that you're interviewing them too. You don't want to be stuck in something that isn't right for you. So, as much pressure as it is on you, it's got to remain in the back of your head that you're interviewing them as well, which should make them a little nervous and take some of the pressure off from you. But it's true. I mean, it doesn't go one way. And if, they don't hire you, that's fine. Rejection is all part of life. But if they do want to hire you, but you didn't feel like it was a good fit, that's okay too. And you should definitely always listen to your gut. So, two jokes, always dress your best. And you are also interviewing them. I told you this was going to be rough. Okay. That's it. Thank you for visiting my YouTube channel, Life with Bree 88, and thank you for watching episode 3. I hope you have a wonderful day, and remember, kindness is free.